Today we're going to be talking about what Warfront.io is and why with a bit of work it could be what finally puts the nail in the coffin for territorial.io. So last video, which you should definitely watch, I mentioned that Platts, the creator of BetterTT, has decided to start a new project called Warfront.io. But in that video I didn't have enough time to talk about it, so I decided to make a separate review. Let's get into it. And of course, make sure to stick until the end because I'm going to be interviewing a very special guest. Okay, but wait, first of all, what is Warfront.io? Well, to understand that, we have to go back 2 months. Tuesday, April 4th, 2024, the creator made a new announcement. He was going to ban mods. While this had caused a lot of turmoil in the community itself, for Platts it also meant that he had to abandon his 2-year project that he spent a lot of time and perhaps also money on, BetterTT. Seeing his story, a fundraiser was created in his name for people to donate as a thanks for all his years in the community and for running BetterTT for so long. Originally, he was going to keep on working on BetterTT if enough was donated for the cost of running, but he had a better idea. You see, so long as he worked under territorial structure, he couldn't reach his full developer potential. Plus, now it would be illegal to continue. So what he decided to do instead was to start over with something new. That's when the idea for Warfront.io was first conceived. Now, at the same time, Warfront was also kind of a protest against Territorial and the creator as a whole. As I mentioned in the previous video, at the time the community was on fire. Everyone was so against everything that the creator was trying to do, and the community was really mad. David was slowly destroying what originally made Territorial so captivating for the community, and honestly no one was there for it. Because of this, Platts knew that if he started his own project, he'd already have a ton of support from everyone in the territorial community. Okay, but now that we know the history, let's go into my review and why it might just beat out territorial in the long run. But before we do that, I need your help. See, I'm on sort of a mission. I want to reach 1,000 subscribers before the 22nd of this month. Well, that's because on the 22nd, I'll be on vacation with my family back to my hometown, and for a while, I won't be as prepared to make videos. So yeah, if you want to help with that, please subscribe, and while you're down there, like the video as well. My last video kind of went viral, at least for my channel size, and I just cannot thank you guys enough for all the support in the comments and just in general. From now on, I'll make it my goal to not disappoint given all the support. But let's go back to the video now. Thank you for your patience. I just want to mention first that Warfront.io is really in its earliest production phases right now, so there will be a lot more to come to the game in the near future. That's important to mention because currently only a demo of it is available. I know a lot of people say like, oh, Warfront is trash, but they only say that because they look at its progress so far and it's nothing compared to Territorial. But I think that's actually an upside because for Platts to make a better Territorial than Territorial itself, it's gonna take time and support from everyone. Nevertheless, let's move on for real now. In my opinion, currently there are 3 main advantages Warfront has which lead me to believe it might be what deals the final blow in Territorial's slow decline. Let's start. Now, first off, I want to talk about the actual developer of the game himself. Platts. As I already stated, Platts has a ton of experience with this sort of thing because of his previous project BetterTT. Now that's important because when Territorial's creator David Satcher was first making Terry, he had no previous game development experience. It also didn't help that Territorial was a really unique concept. I mean, sure, there were of course nation-building games like the Hoi series or Europa Universalis. Games like these have been here for a while, don't get me wrong. But if you've ever played Territorial, it's very clear that it's a totally different concept. Territorial is different because it doesn't focus on building an empire and economics of nations. It's unique because it focuses on the raw attacking and defending mechanics, which is definitely something that wasn't ever really seen before. Because of the limited amount of mechanics, it is both a game that you can pick up very easily, but also quite addicting because of the almost limitless ways you can interpret the game in effort to win. Look, my point is that by deciding to make Territorial, David was jumping headfirst in something the world hadn't seen before with limited experience. He had no reference point, so to say, so all he could do was hope that he was making the right decisions. Because of this, naturally, the game was never quite as good as it could be. But with Platts, it's a different story. He has seen and experienced Territorial's many problems and flaws firsthand for years. Having a reference point, unlike when David was creating Terry, Warfront already by default has the upper hand. Platts has also stated multiple times that his goal with Warfront is to learn from Territorial's flaws, and in doing so creating an even better Territorial than BetterTT itself. A good example of all this is with Territorial's botting and multi-accounting problems. The main reason why this is a problem these days with Territorial is because it lacks a sufficient account system. Now, okay, don't get me wrong, David has been slowly making progress with that, but the fact that it took him so long to realize his mistakes kinda tells me that it's already too late. Platts, however, is already before the full game is even out, working on a full-blown account and ranking system. And it becomes so clear all of a sudden just by seeing another way it could be done how insanely lazy the creator of Territorial has become. Let's move on now though. Now, the second reason why I think Warfront can take over Terry one day is because of the simple fact that Territorial is getting increasingly boring just as a game. What I mean by this is that the only thing that visually separates Territorial now and from when it was first released is literally just the UI. Most people I talk to these days are genuinely getting bored of territorial and have been for quite a while. In fact, the only reason I'm still playing the game at all is because of the clan system and how easily scalable it is. And I have a feeling that the clan system has kind of been carrying most of the community for a while now. There's just something really addicting about being a part of clan, a community, and most importantly, what separates a clan and a bunch of people working together with these people to achieve a common goal for a collective good. But other than that, there is nothing new or interesting about Terry. What I'm saying is that the creator has an active option to commit to making more gameplay updates or at the very least events, simple forms of engagement. But he isn't taking that route for whatever reason. And that's what makes Warfront ever so exciting for everyone involved. It's a whole new frontier of opportunity. Opportunity to, as simple as it is, just not be bored. And that goes a long way. Warfront is the thing people in the Terry community have been waiting for a while because it's already going in a better direction than Terry was ever on. If David wants to stop Warfront from just stealing the whole community, he needs to act fast. But, of course, I doubt he will. Either way, I think territorial has kind of outlived its potential. I mean, I remember talking about how this game was dying for the first time almost a year ago, but the reason it hasn't died with all these flaws is because the community hasn't had another option. Like I said earlier, territorial is one of a kind. For so long now, we've had no similar games to migrate to if we ever wanted to stop playing territorial. Warfront, if advertised and developed correctly based off of territorial's flaws, has the appeal for most of the territorial community. And such a head start almost guarantees its success. Now I know that was a short one, but let's get to the final point. The last point I have is probably the most important one by far, and that's the fact that Platts is focused on building up a community. Last video I highlighted that one of the main reasons territorial is failing right now is because the creator has lost touch with the community. The creator in territorial barely ever interacts with the community and almost never listens to feedback. This would honestly be fine if territorial was a huge AAA game with tons of employees and tens of millions of daily players, but it's so far from that. Territorial is a small website pixela.io game. It has less than 20,000 daily players. At that point, community is supposed to be a focus, not a thought in the back of your head. But so far, Plus has done an amazing job of keeping people engaged in the community and actively participating in the development itself. And I'm not joking about that last part. An overwhelming majority of the active community members in the Warfront Discord server are actually helping with the development. Platts has already successfully made a more engaged community than the territorial community ever was, to the point that literally anyone and everyone could and are incentivized to help with the actual development of the game. Those are some insane levels of engagement. A good example of this is people helping design the UI. This is just one concept piece made by one of the community members. There are also people helping design a logo. There's people working in alternate tessellations, whatever the fuck that means, but you get my point. It's more than a community, it's people working and helping each other together to achieve a common goal. I wonder where we've seen that before. Because at the end of the day, that's kind of the spirit of any good community. Now, I've said the word community a lot so far, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that a successful community always directly equals to a successful game, because that's not true. But what I do know for a fact is true is that as a solo indie game developer, your job is to make people satisfied with your game so they play longer, play again, or share it with their friends, all of which are beneficial for its growth. And the best way you do that is by listening to the feedback, and in the case of solo indie developers, by developing a happy community. Communities can both be a space for people to discuss problems about the game, provide feedback, and also foster up a sense of family and belonging for everyone that's part of it, making them stay for longer. In the case of big AAA titles, community isn't as important though, because they have other means of gaining popularity, like the fact that they're well known or advertising. And that's the problem with territorial. David thinks that he can discard the community as a whole and just focus on advertising or making shitty updates like AAA studios do. But that's proving unsuccessful so far, and now he's too deep in or just too stupid to stop. Now Platts pulls up after mods get banned and he announces his new game where he focuses on the community and drives everyone there. Probably because he actually gives a shit. Now, this has been Lumi. Please subscribe and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, okay, sorry, I almost forgot. I based this whole video off of what Platts said in this interview here. If you want to take a second to read it all, you can pause the video, but seriously, there's no way Warfront is failing. Okay, bye for real now.